Alright guys, so about 3 weeks ago, Larry Roberts and myself, we exchanged knives to, do a review on, use, see what we thought. I sent him a Havelis SRT, which I wasn't real fond of, and he sent me a Sparky 6 that's sold through goinggear.com. Neither one of us knew what the other was getting. So when I got this thing, the first thing I noticed right out the box was the sheath is made for left-handed, which is a definite plus for me. But I started looking at the sheath, and he's got a pretty cool rig here. The sheath is actually from Blind Horse Knives. He's got an antler ferro rod on there. He's got a magnetized needle on there. He's got a GI issue can opener on there. He's got Ranger bands on there. I mean, I can't say I've ever seen anybody rig their sheath like this. The knife itself, my first thought was, holy hell, that's a big knife. It's 1/4 inch 01 tool steel, G10 handles. I was like, well, why the hell do they call it a Sparky 6? So I went to the website. It's a 6-inch blade. And if you unscrew this end in the handle, there's a ferro rod in there, hence Sparky 6. I've carried this knife a couple times, went camping, went on an overnighter, I carried it with me. It's done everything I've wanted it to do. I'm not a big fan of these big knives, but it's actually pretty comfortable. It's a little bulky in the handle, but it's still comfortable. It's got a squared off back. Throws great sparks. It's got a full flat grind on it. It's just, I really don't have anything negative to say about this knife. Except for the fact that the first time I used it, when I pulled it back out the second time, it had all these little bluish black marks all over the knife. So what the hell? I thought maybe it was, dyes from the sheath or something. So I cleaned it all up, used it again, and lo and behold, they came back. So anyways, that's really my only downfall with this knife. It's made by Kevlar. Like I said, it's sold through goinggear.com. It's the only place I've found it. Sells for, I believe it was $279. If I could figure out why these marks show up, I mean, that's my only gripe about it. But it's made to be used, not sit there and look pretty. So with that being said, I've used the hell out of it, and that brings me to the next part that I want to show in this video, and that brings me to the bow drill challenge issued on Wolf Customs. I'm going to use this knife. I've already made a spindle. I'm going to make the fireboard or the hearth board for it. I'm not going to, like I said, I've already made the spindle, so I'm not going to show all that. I mean, that's just monotonous. I mean, this knife is performed fine, so I don't really feel that I need to show any other task with it. I mean, it is what it is. Any custom knife made out of 01 tool steel is going to do what it's supposed to do. So, with that being said, the bow drill challenge, I had to use something different that I'm not used to. So I got to thinking, what do I have in this area that I haven't used before that's a somewhat soft wood? And I got to thinking, for some reason we got a bunch of sassafras trees around here that have just kind of killed over dead. I don't know if it's some kind of disease that's getting them or what the deal is, but got a piece here. Like I said, I've already made my spindle. This is out of sassafras as well. I don't know how dry this is. One end actually looks wet, one end looks dry, so we'll see what happens. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can't get me a fireboard out of this. did this the other night, but I used sassafras board, heartboard, with a piece of poplar for the spindle, and I tell you, it worked like a charm. Now for my board, I like to go about 1/2 inch thick. Darn it, seam it out of here. Typically I ain't using a knife for this, but for the sake of this video, I'm supposed to be doing this review, so I don't believe in beating the hell out of my knife, which they're all beat the hell out of, but it's typical use, but I don't like batoning with my knives. Out of there. Typically on a bow drill set, you don't want to use that pithy section in the center, but I tell you, this thing's, that's the majority of this wood, so this ought to be interesting. Alright, there we have it. There's my heartboard. Alright guys, when it comes to a bow drill, I know we got a lot of guys that are hopefully going to see this that aren't super familiar with the bow drills. You got 4 components. You got a heartboard, you got a spindle, you got a bow, you got a handhold. Typically, I use a rock. You know, this is a friction fire. You want your friction between your spindle and your heartboard. You do not want your friction between your handhold and your spindle. So, with that being said, anything outside of wood, any hard surface, whether it's a rock, whether, hell, I've seen guys put a piece of a teaspoon in their knife handles, you know, it's antler. I mean, anything that's more solid and less fibrous than a piece of wood is going to give you less friction. I've done it many times with a wood handhold. I don't like it. I've got scars in the middle of my hand where I burned through. You know, this is the ticket, especially when you're learning. But that rock stays in my pack, or in my haversack. You know, everywhere that haversack goes, I've got that rock. So, anyways, sassafras spindle, sassafras board. Never tried the two together. See if we can get this thing burned in and see what happens. And typically I want my spindle 1/2 inch from the edge of the board once it's all burned in. I'll just kind of set it up there, eyeball it, make a little indentation with it, and then carve it out a little bit. For my line, or for my bow, I'm using number 36 bank line. All the birds missed all the pieces over there. Tell this thing's a little bit wetter than what I want. It's taking a lot to get any kind of smoke out of this thing. Alright, burned in. Take some of this bark that I cut out. I'm going to save that dust. Now we'll make a notch. Just had to be right where a freaking knot's at too. Ought to be interesting. I'm sweating like a freaking pig. So I'm trying to get a bow jolt ember going. Really aren't good combinations. Now typically what I use for this is cedar. That's my personal preference. I've got a lot of cedar around here. I've got a lot of poplar around here. I tell you, I couldn't have picked a worse spot to start that because there's a knot right there at it. And one thing, back to the cedar and poplar, for me personally, in this high humidity, I will go out of my way to try to find cedar because I can usually take that cedar no matter what humidity it is, and usually within 15 to 30 seconds I can have a coal. As to where that poplar, for some reason the humidity really seems to affect that. In wintertime, poplar's not too bad as long as, you know, they got a high moisture content. Notch up just a little bit more. Alright. And I just dropped a bead of sweat right there in there. That's never good. Bend my spindle up a little bit. Alright, let's see what happens. Alright, there's strike one. Plenty of dust, plenty of smoke, no coal. And every time I do this, especially unsuccessfully, I'm going to clean off as much of that black crap as you can. But you don't really want to change the size of into your spindle size-wise, because you have, man, I'm sweat falling everywhere. Hate when that happens. Again, I tell you, I'm looking at my board. And I got a knot that runs right through the middle. I think I'm going to try to move this and see if that makes a difference. that dust right there. Go over here. More. I'm pleased with that.
You need a towel.
Alright, got a new notch, new hole, new everything. Now if I can keep my sweat out of there, might be able to do something. Same thing. For some reason I got a line running straight up the middle of this board. Keeps giving me hot spots and it looks like the coal's trying to collect there. This is a prime example of why you don't use the pithy section out of a piece of wood. But there really ain't enough. I don't have sassafras big enough around here to get a section that doesn't have that. Yep, I'm about to give out. Try this one more time. I don't have any doubt this would work. I do have doubt in the fact that it's about to rain. Humidity's high as hell, and I ain't familiar with this wood. And I can tell you the top of my spindle is saturated with the amount of sweat that I'm producing right now.